Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we will learn how to create a QR code scanner. To get started, open up Xcode and create a new project. It's going to be a single view app and call it something like QR Reader or Scanner. It's your choice. Then save it on the desktop and go to main.storyboard. In main.storyboard, drag in a view. Should be towards the very bottom, and it should be the second to last one. Alright, make it cover the whole screen, add the constraints, and give it a background so that we can see it. Then drag in another view controller. On that view controller, drag on a web view. You can use a legacy one or the normal WebKit view. I prefer to use a legacy one because the new one was just released, and I prefer the old one because that's what I'm used to. But they both work in the same way. Add the constraints, then drag a segue from the original view controller to the second one. To do this, right-click the icon and go onto the second view controller and select Show. Here for the identifier, what you want to put in is open link. You will have to remember this for later. Then you can go ahead and go to viewcontroller.swift and define an iboutlet for the view. So we are going to call it video preview, and it's going to be a UI view. Not a controller, but a UI view. Also, we have to put in the delegate for the AV foundation. So it's AV capture, and we haven't imported the AV foundation library, so we will have to do that. AV capture metadata output objects delegate. Then we are going to define a string for the URL, and it's just going to be an empty string. Then if there's an error, we will have to define an enum for the error. It's my error, or just error. I'm going to put lowercase just not to confuse with the class, and it's going to be a type error. The first case is no camera available. The second case is for video input init fail, which pretty much means that the initiation of the video input was a failure. In the view load, go ahead and type in do and a catch. We will initialize these later because we will have to define a few functions. In the catch anyway, you can put in print failed to scan the QR or QR/bar code. Then go all the way down past did receive memory warning, and we will define our functions. The first one is for capturing the output. And of course there is no predefined function for some reason. That means we have to define it on our own. Capture output, AV capture output, did output metadata objects, and it's going to be an array of any's. And from connection. Great. That's pretty much what it is. Then we will see if the count is greater than 0. That's all we have to pretty much check. If metadata objects.count is greater than 0, then we can run the code, which is let machine readable code equals the first object in the metadata objects, and it's as AV metadata machine readable code object. Then we are going to see if the type is equal to the type of the QR code. If machine readable code dot type is equal to AV metadata object type dot type QR code. If it is, then we want to open up the URL by saying string URL equals machine readable code dot string value. And we can see we're getting a little bit of an error here because I forgot to put a space here. And that's pretty much the fix. After that, let's see. We forgot that got renamed, and we have to unwrap that. Then we are going to preform segue with identifier, and again from earlier it's open link. The sender is self. That is it for capturing the output. Then we have to have a function for scanning the QR code. And it throws errors sometimes. Let AV capture session, and that's equal to an AV capture session. Oops. Then we will move on by typing guardlet AV capture device. That's equal to AV capture device dot default device, which is default, and with media type 4 is AV media type dot video. Else, then print that there is no camera. Then throw an error, which is throw my error, error dot no camera available. After that, you want to do another guardlet AV capture input, and that is equal to try to define it as an AV capture device input device, and the device is AV capture device. Excuse me. Then go ahead and put in an else, and for else it's the camera failed to initiate, so it's print failed to init camera. And then again, we're going to throw an error dot video input init fail. All right, great. Then we will have to do the actual scanning part, which is now it's let AV capture metadata output. And that's equal to an AV captured metadata output. And of course it's an empty initializer. Then we will set the delegate. Dot set metadata objects delegate self, and the queue is just the main queue. You can type that in by doing dispatch queue dot main. All right, then we will add an input and add the output. So AV capture session dot add input, and the input is the AV capture input. Then AV capture session dot add output, and of course the output is the AV capture metadata output. Great. Then we will set the metadata object types of the output. To do this, type in AV capture metadata output dot metadata objects types is equal to the QR code. Dot object type dot QR. Alright, then we will set the preview layer by typing in let AV capture video preview layer is equal to an AV capture video preview layer. Whoops, that's an AV. And of course, inside we are going to put in the session. Session is AV capture session. All right. Then we are going to set the gravity. That's equal to the AV layer video gravity dot resize and its aspect fill. Then we are going to set the frame AV capture video preview layer dot frame is equal to the video previews bounds. Then self dot video preview dot layer dot add sublayer. The layer is of course AV capture video preview layer, and we are going to start the AV capture session. All right, then we must, oh, whoops, we weren't supposed to unwrap that. Then the next part is preparing to open the URL. Put in that function, and for the code, you'll want to see if the segue's identifier is equal to the identifier we set earlier, which is open link. You can actually see it's right here. Then if it is, then we will do our work. First, we want to set the destination, which is equal to the segue's destination, and it's as a web view controller. And we will define that in a moment. Then destination, we will define the parameters in a moment. But first of all, we have to define the next view controller file. Go to the file menu, select new file, and then CocoaTouch class. The class will be called web view controller, and just save it to your QR reader folder. Then go to main.storyboard, link it up by selecting the second view controller, and in the class type in web view controller and press enter. Great. Now there is no problem. In the web view controller, first of all, we want to define the iboutlet for the web view, UI web view. Then we will define the URL, which is equal to an empty URL. Alright. And it doesn't let us invoke with no arguments. What we have to do is just type in string, and for now it's an empty string. Then in the view load, you want to define a URL request, and that's equal to a URL request with the URL, which is the URL. Then we have to unwrap it. Alright, then you want to type in webview.loadRequest. And of course it's URL request. Great, that's pretty much the code for the web view controller. Now we can go back to the view controller and set the destination dot URL is equal to string URL. And wait, and remember this is a string, which means that we have to put it as an initializer and string URL. Great, that's pretty much all you have to do. Now the final part is to link everything together by, for the custom class, linking it up with the video preview, iboutlet, and for the web view, put it in for the web view. That is it for the code. I'll see you when we try it out. But before we do that, we have to go ahead to the info.plist and define the privacy and the camera usage description. And for the value, type in we need to use your camera to scan QR codes. Alright, great. Now the next part is to create a QR code. You can do this by opening up qrcodemonkey.com. Then type in a URL, and for my example, I'm going to do Google, because who doesn't like Google, and create QR code. There we go, that's google.com. Now make sure that you can save this. I will print it out, and I'll show you in a moment. I'll see you then when I show you. Also, I forgot to mention this, but in the do statement, we forgot to initialize this. You have to put in try to scan the QR code. That's it. Now if you upload it, go ahead and do that. I can't show you right now, but I will show you in a moment. I'll see you then. Alright, this is a QR code we have. To scan this, I have the phone right here. You can see. Since it scans very quickly, I will move the phone out of the way so that you can see the way the app works. Alright, let's get started. I will put the QR code in and scan it. Great, and it just opened up the window. that means that it works. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And please like and subscribe if you liked this video. See you then.